asserts justice is the practice of benefiting one's friends and harming one's enemies. Socrates argues such a definition is flawed. It's sometimes hard to determine who's a true friend and who's really an enemy. Thrasymachus proclaims justice is nothing more or less than the interest of the stronger. Socrates expresses hesitation about this definition. Socrates soon elicits from Thrasymachus the admission that justice may be equated with virtue and wisdom, while injustice is allied with vice and ignorance. Then persuades Thrasymachus to agree be an evil ruler, and a good soul must be just, since justice is the excellence of the soul. The just person is happy, the unjust is miserable. Socrates then confesses he is unhappy because he still does not know precisely what justice is. In Book 2 of the Republic, Glaucon discourses on justice as a mean or compromise, whereby men agree laws must intervene in order to prevent the excessive doing or suffering of evil. Those who practice justice do so involuntarily, conforming to just behavior only because they don't want to risk punishment for injustice. He illustrates this with the story of Gyges, who found a ring that could make him invisible. With this ring, he seduced the queen, killed the king, and took over the kingdom. Glaucon suggests the theme, or inner truth of this tale, is everyone will practice injustice if he thinks it's safe to do so. Adeimantus says practicing justice has more to do with a person's reputation than with reality. So Socrates has the responsibility of showing not only justice is intrinsically better than injustice, but also of sorting out the matter of reputation and the blurring of appearance and reality. Socrates proposes they focus on the nature of justice in the state or city as opposed to the individual. He then leads them step by step in the detailed construction of an ideal state, from economics to education and the arts to territory and warfare. A special class of guardians, citizens whose talents and temperament qualify them for positions of civil and military authority, unite philosophy and spirit, swiftness and strength. Socrates makes clear censorship of the Greek literary heritage will be necessary because the guardians should not be exposed to tales of disputes, violence, and immorality among the gods and heroes. Traditional tales are rife with such lies. It's important the tales the young hear are models of virtuous thoughts. In Book 3 of the Republic, Socrates continues directly on the discussion of education for the guardians in the ideal state. He emphasizes two dangers: poetry that dramatizes lamentation or the fear of death, and poetry that prompts or inspires unseemly laughter or merriment. Socrates gives examples of some traditional tales figures being false and encouraging moral laxity. Socrates next proceeds to poetic narrative styles. Homer proceeds, according to Socrates, by way of mimesis, or imitation, which holds substantial dangers for the guardians of the ideal state, since the guardians should be concerned only with virtue and the good. Finally, Socrates urges his listeners to challenge and test the guardians regularly. They should be constantly monitored. Furthermore, they and the other citizens of the ideal state should be subjected to a benevolent myth about their origins and parentage intended to make them care profoundly for the welfare of their state. To understand the energy of Plato's attack on poetry, readers need to visualize the seriousness and reverence with which the poets, beginning with Homer, were regarded in ancient Greece. Poetry codified an enormous range of normative social behavior. Homer, in particular, was regarded similarly to how those in the Judeo-Christian tradition might regard the Bible. The group should seek to discover the nature of justice first in the ideal state, and only then in the individual. He argues because the